Legendary sports broadcaster Hank Renard will sit with us tonight and share his over 30 years of professional and amateur sports handicapping experience to make you a winner in this week's slate of professional football action. Recorded live from Hank's award-winning restaurant and bar, the crown jewel of New Essex, the Armada Room. Without further ado, here's your host, Howlin Hank Renard.
Good evening. I'm Hank Renard, and I'm back this week with my Week 9 picks. I went 5-2 on my picks last week, bringing my season record to 14-8. A brief moment of solace on my lonely path of misery, moving me ever closer to the sweet release of the infinite sleep.
Jesus, Dad, what's the matter with you tonight?
Linda threw me out.
Oh, did you guys get into a fight or something?
It's the same thing as always was with them. You know, they fall in love with this idea of you. And then when they get close enough to see the creases in your heart and the warts on your soul, they try to change you back into the ideal of who they thought they were going to be with when they first met you. And when you don't acquiesce to their every whim and demand, they wash their hands of you, like the has-been, never was that you always were.
Have you ever thought of changing?
People don't change, Francis. Only the bullshit that comes out of their mouth does. It's like when I dated Nancy Wilson in the 70s.
Was she a friend of yours?
Nancy Wilson, the singer of Heart. Maybe the best female-fronted rock band in history.
Oh, yeah. They had that, that song. What was it? Yeah. Don't stop thinking about...
That was Fleetwood Mac, you Gaelic ignoramus. Anyways, we dated when, this is when I was doing AA games in Bismarck. And they were on tour and headed on their way to Minneapolis, and their bus broke down. So, anyway, long story short, I met her in her hotel bar and spent the next 2 nights in her room. You know, bear in mind, this is Bismarck in the 70s. So, you know, I didn't exactly sweep her off her feet or anything. I just happened to pass for the closest thing to a homo sapien in that abyss of boredom. She actually wrote about it in one of her songs. At any rate, she wanted me to tour around the country with her and, you know, give up my career and become her lapdog. And, you know, fast forward 40 years later, and now I'm in my shithole bar for doing an internet video for 11 people.
Well, I mean, there's some good news here. It's that flyer that you put out last week has actually directed some traffic to the site now. We're up to 34 hits now.
Huzzah. Alright, so the 1 o'clock games that I like. First you got Jacksonville, who wasn't quite as terrible as their record would indicate. They're actually getting 4.5 at home to the visiting Lions. Now folks, this Lions team has got a nice stretch coming up here against Green Bay, Minnie, Houston, setting up as a classic trap game for them. So take Jacksonville plus 4.5 there. Next you get Carolina and Washington. You got an over 47 there, which I really like, because you got this Griffin kid who can score points like you read about, and their defense can't stop anybody. So take the over there at 47. Then you got Chicago traveling to Tennessee. Chicago's giving 3 in the contest. They'll be laying the 3 there. Then you have Indy, who's a home dog, getting 2.5 against Minnie. I'll be taking the 2.5 there. And then you have Oakland hosting Tampa Bay. And Tampa Bay is doing some good things, and they're only giving Tampa Bay's getting 1.5 in that contest, so I'll be taking the points there. Finally, you have the Giants hosting the Steelers. And folks, listen, this Giants team always seems to self-correct after one of those weird wins like the ones that they had last week against Dallas. If you watch that game, you would know that they should have lost that game probably about 4 or 5 different times. They're also overdue for their mid-season swoon, so take Pittsburgh plus 3 in that contest. Finally, in the Sunday night game, You've got Atlanta -4 against Dallas. And folks, this Atlanta team may be 7-0, but they haven't beat anybody really. I mean, the only team they beat with a winning record was King Forehead over there and the rest of the Broncos. You got Dallas, though, who's played some tougher competition with wins over the Giants and the Ravens. So I'll be taking the points with Dallas +4 there against Atlanta. New Orleans, you've got -3 at home against Philly. New Orleans is just a mess, and well, so is Philly too. This has actually turned into a matchup of the two worst coaches in the league. One with 13 days on the job, the other with 13 years. You got Philly, though, who's been in some close games, won a couple of them, lost a couple of them. New Orleans has just been a mess, so I'll be taking Philly as the road dogs there, +3. So with that, we've completed another week of picks. I'll be back next week with my Week 10 picks. If you'd like to come down to the Armada Room, come have a steak, have a drink, come shake my hand, great. Good luck this week. Hopefully my picks were winners. If they weren't, they were free. So who gives a shit? With that, good night.
So what was that song that singer wrote about you?
Crazy on You. It's actually on the jukebox here.
Oh, I know this song. Is this about you?
This intro, I mean, this was her sister, who was the lead guitarist, and she, unbelievable, totally underrated guitarist for her generation. Not such a huge fan of me, though. Probably could smell the failure on me. I wanna cry. Just fine. And all I wanna do tonight is go crazy on you. Crazy on you. Gonna go crazy, crazy on you. Gonna go crazy, crazy on you.
Dad, are you sure?
What?
Are you sure it was this song? Because I'm pretty sure there's another one on the jukebox that was about you. It's called You're So Vain.
That's Carly Simon, you idiot!
Oh, Jesus!